Welcome back to the Bruce Williams channel. In this video, I would like to showcase a new release from a Swedish micro brand that I have featured previously here on the Bruce Williams channel. This Swedish micro brand is known for packing in the value, and this latest model is called the Windseeker. Now, this is in reference to sailing boats, and you'll really see that emphasized with your curved teak sailing deck inspired dial pattern, which to me kind of reminds me of the prior generation Omega Aquaterra, which is never a bad thing. I look at this and I don't see a rip-off, quote unquote, of an Aquaterra. This still has its own design inspiration. In fact, I look at the case, I look at the bracelet, I look at the dimensions, and this is almost identical to the shellback diver from Tuseno, which I have reviewed and featured previously, again, on the channel. And I'll leave links to those videos in the description if you're interested in checking those out. But continuing, very nice detail work. There will be a sunburst finish on this textured dial done in a slate blue color, which looks really nice. It kind of also reminds me of a current dial offering from Omega in the Aquaterra line. Now, also, there will be defined, faceted, applied markers that are filled with Superluminova BGW9. There will also be BGW9 found in the polished, beveled handset. And I also like the index track here on the circumference of the dial that carries a very granular, almost orange peel texture within that space that has the linear minute indexing. It's a break from the sunburst curved teak deck inspired dial that I think works well in conjunction with that texture. Now continuing, there will be a circular date window at the 6 o'clock position and yellow accenting found on the seconds hand, on the tip of the seconds hand, and also on the model name Windseeker between the date aperture and the hand stack. One other dial element of note is found on the rehaut or the chapter ring. You will notice just a little bit of engraved indexing found for every 5 minutes on that rehaut. So kind of a nice detail that I haven't really seen done like this on a brand that I can recall in recent memory. Everything is visible under a flat sapphire crystal with a good application of anti-reflective treatment on the underside of the crystal only. Now, within the case is a Solita movement, and you can view it through a display back on the reverse of the case. This is the SW200-1 with 26 joules, a 4 hertz beat frequency, and a little bit of a longer power reserve of 41 hours as opposed to 38 hours on a stock SW200. So it's nice to see a Swiss-made movement in a watch that will only retail for $599 at launch. Now that price will go up to $649 after launch, so it does, it is advantageous if you're interested in this to get in on the launch and save that $50. Now let's continue here. We have a mostly brushed finish on this watch with restrained use of high polish in areas. If you take a look at the bezel, it has a flat top with a linear brush pattern and then a polished chamfer or angle on the bezel and then a brushed vertical portion near the base of the bezel. So that's nice to see. The bracelet has full articulating links, a polished chamfered edge on all of those links, and then those links will be connected by a screw pin system. And it really looks nice in natural light. A lot of interest coming off of the various angles, the brush work, the polish work. It really looks good, again, in natural light. And there will be a signed butterfly deployant with purling in the middle of that deployant. I know not everybody likes a butterfly style clasp. The disadvantage is that you don't get a micro extension system. So if you don't get the perfect fit out of the box, it either feels a little bit too loose or a little bit too tight. But that's the reality of that clean look. Now, let's talk about the good, then we'll talk about the bad. The good, I like the size. I think this watch really demonstrates value with the details, with the Solita movement, with the various colors offered, and with the presence on wrist, all for about $600. $600 if you're buying it at launch and $650 if you miss the launch date. Now, what about the areas for improvement? For myself, I would like to see a color matched date to the dial. This is a very nice shade of slate blue, and matching the date wheel would be a nice detail that would take the overall feel up a little bit, even though it's kind of an insignificant detail. Us watch collectors, we live for the details. We really enjoy those small details. And the only other comment would be that the bracelet is just a touch loose laterally. There is some flex and give, but for $600, considering everything that's here, I don't consider either one of those elements a deal breaker. Again, the official launch is the 16th. Delivery happening within a few weeks, so you don't have to pre-order and then wait for a number of months. These are already in production, being assembled, and will be shipped out very shortly. Links in the description. Thank you very much for watching. Reach out with questions. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.